Dr. I will come into you because I remember, yes, we said we were not in 2015 where we're queuing to be scanned to enter churches and mosques, but today, the fear of even traveling 5 kilometers in some places it has become something. So can we say we met the progress that we should have met with the change of service chiefs, with the amount of money that have gone into security, for instance?
Well, let's look at it in two different dimensions.
Okay.
Muhammad Ali just mentioned the first dimension, and then I will only buttress a bit and then look at the second dimension that, in my opinion, is what I think is going on. First, yes, the armed forces put together have done their best from 2015, let's say, or 2016, to this time around in terms of fighting insurgency, that is the Boko Haram, and like he rightly mentioned, they are adopting the guerrilla warfare. And it's not an easy thing for you to fight and win a guerrilla warfare kind of war. Even the world over, the Vietnamese use the same tactics to defeat America, and then you can mention so many other countries. And if you check around the globe, this kind of situation is ongoing, and fighting and succeeding on them has always been a very difficult thing. And like you put it, the armed forces have done what they think they can do, and then looking at also the amount of money involved. Well, I don't know how, like Muhammad Ali rightly put it, if you can justify the volume of money so far put into this campaign and compared with what we are having today in terms of weaponry, in fact training and even retraining, the tactics, the technology needed and what have you. That is on the one side. On the other side, if you look at it critically, I would rather say that we have just succeeded in defeating one dimension, and another dimension has resurfaced itself. That is where in 2015, 2016, 2017, to certain level of 2018, what was considered to be the major problem in terms of security was the Boko Haram. But from that period till now, another dimension has resurfaced, like I said. That is where you have the banditry, the kidnapping, the cattle rustlers, and then what have you. Now, in 2016, 2017, like you rightly mentioned, you are afraid of moving 5 kilometers or entering mosque or church without being bombed. Or also when you are in a gathering, you are afraid that a small child, girl or boy, could come with and detonate a bomb and get you killed or injured. But this time around, you just like in 2015, you can move 5 kilometers freely without the fear of looking back. Maybe somebody is coming after you, the possibility of you being kidnapped
for ransom.
And then also the villagers will just be in their village, and then in the middle of the day, they hear a sound of motorcycles, finding 100, 150, 200, 250 motorcycles moving in a row at a time, each motorcycle carrying 3 people, and each of the 3 carrying a weapon, sophisticated weapon, and then also all of them carrying more than 1 magazine. In most cases, you find the members of the armed forces carrying 2 magazines. Very rare occasion where you find them carrying 3 magazines for maybe AK-47 or FM rifle or SMG or GPMG or whatever kind of. But these guys are carrying, if you talk of AK-47, they are carrying 3 magazines of 30 rounds. That is 90 rounds per person. And if they are moving in 200 or 250 motorcycles, and then they are carrying 3, that is almost a strength of a division. Not even a battalion or a brigade, but almost the size of a division. And then that is to say, you are having about 1,000 of them moving at a time and carrying at least 1,000 weapons. With, you can imagine the number of ammunition they will be carrying. If you carry AK-47 that carries 3 magazines and 30 rounds per magazine, if you put together, that's 90, and you multiply times 250 motorcycles times 3 people per that 250, you can imagine the number of people that are moving at a time, and they will come and sack a whole village.
And the damage they can wreak.
Do everything they can do to make sure that they destroy a whole community, carry away their wives, the youths, maybe leaving some of the old men, and burning off their houses and whatever food product they have, and moving away with their cattle. this is entirely a different dimension, or are you just be moving on the road and then a group of people will just surface and stop you and then push you into the bush and begin to demand for 30, 50 or even 100 million. So it's another dimension entirely in terms of insecurity. Insecurity is insecurity. They all depends on degree and the dimension that is being taken. Yes, we have succeeded to a great level in terms of fighting Boko Haram, some few element of them hit and run kind of, but then another dimension of insecurity has resurfaced. As sophisticated as
we'll go to the process. But we have people from the judiciary also who will say there are people, our prison for instance, the custody system, we meant to understand the number of people awaiting trial are even far more than the people who are even condemned. But those in the judiciary will come and say, look, we have condemned people who governors are not even ready to sign their executions.
Well, Abdulaziz, you should know that there's politics in everything. There's politics as a politician, there's politics even in the security system.
You have to play politics with security.
You play politics with almost everything. There is international politics, international security politics itself. Everything is being politicized. No matter how you look at it, there's that element of politics in it. But ordinarily, there's not supposed to be politics in security. There shouldn't be politics in judiciary, but you still have it. Now, there's always interest. It's only a very committed and very, would I call it a sound mind governor who has this serious patriotism that will agree to sign
a death
warrant for someone to be killed. Otherwise, you ask him, he will tell you, well, the next government will come, let them sign. I will not be party to killing anybody. But those are the same people that are killing fellow human beings, that innocent human beings.
These are governors who swear by the holy books.
That is the challenge. That is why I said
to live by the law.
Everything. I have seen a situation where somebody killed somebody. It is confirmed that the person was killed, but just for the governor to assent for the person to be released, eventually the same governor, after a certain period of time, give amnesty to that same person that killed the other one. So this has happened in the past. The past governors that led us. So you look at this thing critically. Like I said, you find politics in it, and then there's always interest. So the only way to do this is through patriotism. We have to have patriotic leaders, patriotic, if you like, judges. You don't just say you don't have them at all, even though there's allegation of having a lot of bad ones amongst them. Just like in the security system, where someone that has kidnapped for ransom eventually even killed a person, and then because there's like Honorable Muhammad Ali rightly put, you have a syndicate leaders who will now go around and bail them. I've also seen where some people that were alleged to have kidnapped some set of people, students in particular, and they were arrested. In fact, I saw some of them after being arrested, they've been released. So you begin to ask a question, what is really happening? But rightly said, if someone who is behind kidnapping, a security guard that gave information of his boss, and his boss is being kidnapped with his wife, and 15 million is being released, and he got only 30,000. And truly, no matter how hard you try to press him, you find out that all he got is just the 30,000. Then who gets the 15 million naira? Same situation, we had a group captain whom was also kidnapped. After kidnapping, in his own case, 5 million naira was paid with a motorbike and a 500,000 naira recharge card. Eventually, when he was discussing with them while he was being punished, when the money is about to be given, some of those boys were said that they see some of them see only 10, 20, 30,000 naira, some 50,000. So you begin to wonder who is getting this much money, because in most cases the least money you pay, depending on who is being kidnapped, is 5 million naira, between 5, because they demand for 30, 50, depending on who they kidnap.
We negotiate down.
If you take much longer time than necessary before bringing the money, they collect the money and kill the victim. But eventually, at the end of the day, like I said, the ones that are at the forefront, you find out that they are getting peanuts. Who's getting the money? That's number one. Number two, we were informed by that those that were being kidnapped and then rescued that they have about 3 or 4 different syndicate groups in a row. First are the ones that do the kidnapping. When they do the kidnapping, they deliver to a certain group. In fact, they were informed that they are even having some certain level of uniforms to differentiate themselves. They have command and control within that the syndicate criminal group. You kidnap, you get to a certain level, you deliver to the second team. The second team take over to the third team, and then before the final place. And same goes with the money. When the money is being delivered, it delivered to a certain group. Those group that receive the money don't get a dime out of it. They deliver to another set, those ones to the next set, until when they get to the last, before the distribution now come back to those that received the money from the families of the victim. And eventually that is how it goes. So if there is this role, how comes these people are not being
well, that's the question.
Sorry, before that, let me give you a little clue before Honorable pick it up. Like the one that was kidnapped, the group captain that was kidnapped, we even had to put what do you call it, tracker on the motorbike, a brand new motorbike, and up till now the tracker is working. The movement of the bike is being seen, but up till this moment, these people have not been apprehended. So you begin to ask the question: what is really happening?